July the 28th, 2019. You're looking at the Wide Atlantic satellite image from the National Hurricane Center. We did a video last night, guys, and we talked about 3 different systems, and it was about a rapid-fire storms coming off the African coast, and it was having to deal with this large Saharan dust layer that they call it, and how it's absorbing the storms. And the storm in the very center of the picture, crossing the Windward Islands, has been, for a week, we've been watching it, and it was out front of the storms that were behind it, and we talked about it absorbing some of that dust and maybe leaving a pathway behind it to clear for the storms that are coming off. Well, this system has made it through that dust layer. Now, it's got to go through some wind shear. You see it coming across the islands here, and to the left of the screen, you can see the wind shears moving up and over the Puerto Rican islands and across Cuba. But once it gets right past that section towards central Cuba, that wind shear changes and it's moving towards Florida at that point. But anyways, you speed this thing up, you can tell that it's loading up the top right side in the thunderstorms right now. And you can see in this, where it gets kind of faded yellow, that's your highest clouds. Now, it's dealing with some mountainous areas through these islands, but this one has made it through, and they're starting to watch it, guys. And I suspected they would. That's why I kind of kept watching it, too. Maybe they're just, you know, they don't want to cry wolf. Nobody does, because it's been a kind of a strange weather season, to say the least. But they're tracking it now, moving northwestward. And here are the latest stats. This came out at about 12 minutes ago, my time. It says at 8 p.m. Eastern, it's 7:12 Central here now. It says a persistent area of cloudiness and thunderstorms located over the eastern Caribbean Sea is associated with a tropical wave. This disturbance is expected to move west, northwestward to northwestward across the north-central Caribbean Sea during the next few days, producing locally heavy rainfall and possibly some flooding across portions of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Hispaniola. Little development of the disturbance, however, is likely during this time as upper-level winds are becoming less conducive. And that's where I was showing you the winds that it's about to come into that are moving north. But that's only going to last maybe a day and a half, maybe not that long. And then you see the winds change, moving towards the Florida Peninsula. That's what they're talking about. After that period, it will become more conducive for development. And you can see this, the tip of the cone, guys. Remember, that's not the size of the storm. That is somewhere between those yellow lines is where they're predicting at this point the center will become. Now, before I end the video, let's go back and look at Africa a minute. The second storm that was coming off last night is really losing the battle with the dust. Look in the purple area in the top. Now, this storm had perfect rotation, but we talked about it may not win this particular battle, and it hasn't. Now, it's not completely knocked out of the ball game yet, but you can see that even with its cyclonic rotation, that dust is really affecting the moisture. But the one behind it, that was the third one in the video last night. The one behind it has very good rotation and so far has not succumbed to that dust with that battle with the Saharan dust. Now you can see the very tip of the storm in the north. But one thing about the storm that's in front of it, the one that appears to be dissipating, and there's one behind it, but the one in the center, guys, is absorbing a lot of dust. Even though it is taking one for the team there. Look at how clear it is just behind it. You got that storm, but look between the one coming off the coast and the one that, again, is absorbing all the sand. It's leaving a clear path. Talked about this last night, guys. And again, because we're in grand solar minimum and the gamma ray penetration into our atmosphere, the ground and the water has things really heated up. Europe was seeing record temperatures just this past week. Guys, we'll be watching this very close. It's a heads up. Be safe.